All right, welcome to Notes 7.1 Part 2. A quick reminder, this sheet right here is basically going to be your go-to. So please make sure you keep very good track of your geometry toolbox because whenever you name a shape, you're going to need to find out what the formula is. And you can either memorize that or just always reference the sheet. So I want you to find the perimeter and area of each. So for number one, what type of shape it is, it's a rectangle. So you write down the perimeter formula, which is 2L plus 2W, or 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. And yes, I know in your head some of you are like, well, I could just say, oh, this is 6 plus 6 and 12 plus 12 and get your answer. Prove it to yourself algebraically, because tomorrow we're going to be asking you to find sides given a perimeter and another side, or find an area given a base but not a height. So we'll be working with a lot of two-step equations. So when you do that, you should get perimeter is equal to 12 plus 24, which is equal to 36. And the units for perimeter are always just regular units, so 36 in this case meters. For your area, it's length times width, or base times height. So basically here you're saying area is equal to it doesn't matter which number you put in, because 6 times 12 is the same thing as 12 times 6. But usually the base is what we can consider something like a bottom number, or something that the shape can lie on. Now it could lie on either of these. In this case, I'll just say it's 6 times 12. And in this case, it's 72. And we always say our units for area are how many little squares can we fit inside the shape. So units squared, so meters squared. That's the big difference between perimeter and area. Perimeter you add, area you multiply. Perimeter you're going to get regular units, area you're going to get units squared, right? So you're going to do number 2 on your own. For number 3, we have a square. The perimeter of a square is just 4s. If I was like, oh, I forgot what it was, I go back and reference my toolbox. I go to square. All right, there's square. How do I find the perimeter? 4s. Boom, there it is. Then I go back down. So basically I'm going to say 4 times 5, and so it's going to be equal to 20 kilometers. For area, that's going to be s squared, or 4 squared, which is equal to 16 kilometers. And remember, it's units squared, because it's saying how many little squares can I fit inside of that box. Now I actually messed that up. It shouldn't be 16. Should be 5, so the side was 5 units long, so it's 25 kilometers squared. Sorry about that. So you pause and do number 4. All right, number 5. There is no formula for the perimeter of the triangle. You just add up all the numbers on the outside. So in this case, that's going to be 5 plus 8 plus 10. Notice you don't add 4 because it's on the inside. So in this case, that gives you 23 miles. Sorry, I forgot to label this was a triangle. And for the area, it's 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2. Either one works. So in this case, you would say, all right, my base is 10. That's my bottom number there, the number that the shape lies on. My height is that dotted line. That's 4. And I'm going to divide that by 2. And you get 40 over 2. And so your answer is 20. And it's miles squared. So you can kind of think of a quick way to do the area of a triangle is just do a normal base times height, just like you would do for a rectangle or a square or a parallelogram, and then just divide by 2. 10 times 4, 40, divided by 2, 20. Boom, you're done. All right. We're just proving it algebraically though today, just to make sure that we understand it. Now I want to do it the other way too. Area is equal to 1/2 base times height, just so you get used to both, and then you get to pick which way you want to do it. So area is equal to 1/2 of your base, which is 10, times your height, which is 4. So you ask yourself, what's half of 10? Well, that's 5 times 4, and 5 times 4, 20. So you're going to get 20 miles squared either way. Do both ways in number 6. Try and make sure you understand both ways. Number 7. So again, the shape again is a triangle. The perimeter is all the numbers on the outside, so that's just going to be 8 plus 6 plus 10. There's 3 sides of a triangle. You should have 3 numbers to add up. That's 24 feet. Now, what's your height? When you try and get measured at the doctor's office, you stand up straight, so it's always coming from a right angle. It's never going to be something diagonal like that, unless it was a dotted line. That would indicate a height. So here you're standing up straight, you're 8 feet tall. So area is equal to base times height divided by 2, or area is equal to 6 times 8 divided by 2, which is 48 divided by 2. And in this case, it's one of the few times our perimeter and area actually equal each other, except the area is 24 feet squared rather than 24 feet. Right? So in number 8, what I want you to do is actually change this. It says 4.3. I want you to change it to 4. And I also want you to add in a number here because I want you to add that as 3. So when you're doing the perimeter of this triangle, the numbers that are for the perimeter are actually 12, 3, and 7. So 12 plus 3 plus 7, that gives you 22 meters. And the dotted line, like I said, usually indicates a height. So that's what you'll use for base times height divided by 2. You'll use 7 times 4 divided by 2. And I'll let you finish that one. All right, number 9, the shape is a parallelogram. So the perimeter is just all the numbers on the outside. Now, in a parallelogram, these two sides are equal and these two sides are equal. This is 11 miles, so this will also be 11 miles. So it's basically just going to be 11 plus 11 plus 11 plus 11. This is actually an example of a rhombus because all the sides are equal. It's just kind of a square that's slanted. So you could also write rhombus underneath. And the area of a rhombus or the area of a parallelogram is just going to be base times height. Very simple. So area is equal to base, which is 11, times your height, the dotted line 9. So you're going to get 99 miles squared. All right. And number 10, I have to add a number in for you here. So again, I want you to make this 3. I'm just making this up. There's no reason why I'm saying this 3, but then you should be able to say, okay, if these two sides are equal and these two sides are equal, you should be able to find the perimeter. Don't use 4 in the perimeter, use that in the area because that's your height. Right, and last shapes here, we have a trapezoid. So the perimeter is just going to be all the numbers on the outside. I have to add in something. So first of all, I'll change this to 9. I just want to work with whole numbers and change that to 4. So we'll do 12 plus 4 plus 9 plus 3. And so that gives us 12 and 12 is 24, plus 4 is 28, 28 feet. And now the area is a little tricky, so it's 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height, right? So 1/2, your first base, bottom base is 3, plus your second base, top base is 12, times your height, which is 6, right? Now you could do this exactly how I've done it, 1/2 times 15 times 6, and you could be like, oh man, what's half of 15? That's 7.5 times 6. And then you'd have to be like, well, I need a calculator and all that stuff, and it might get a little tricky. It would give you 45 feet squared. Or you could recognize it's easier to take half of 6 than it is 15, and you could write it as area is equal to 1/2 height times base 1 plus base 2. Right? Because it doesn't matter if you multiply height then this or this then height. It's a commutative property of multiplication. So area is equal to 1/2 of 6 times 3 plus 9. Area is equal to 1/2 of 6, or half of 6 is 3 plus, oops, sorry, this is 12, my fault. 3 times 15, and area is equal to 45. So either way, you get it correct. Basically, I just asked myself again, is it easier to take half of 15 or easier to take half of 6? And in that case, it's easier to take half of 6. Here, I want us to name these as 4. I want to change that as 5. I want you to change this to 2. And find me the area and perimeter of that trapezoid. Okay. Lastly, when you have time, basically you'll be doing this puzzle. I'll help you out with number 1. It says botanical garden. I know it's kind of cut off. Has the shape of a pentagon. How many meters of fencing around or need to go around the garden? So what would you do to find the perimeter? Perimeter in this case, you would just add 40 plus 38 plus 38 plus 40 plus 60. Right? They're talking about fencing. That's the perimeter. So what do? You just add up the sum or the length of the sides. So you go over here, you find which one of those is saying, okay, add up the sum of the length of the sides. That's letter S. And then on 1, you put a letter S. So basically, they're giving you 12 different scenarios, and you got to figure out which formula goes with that scenario. So like number 7, how many tiles are needed to cover a square patio measuring 18 feet on one side, and if each square patio is 1 square foot, so basically, well, what do you need for all this inside for 1 square foot? You got to ask yourself, are we talking about the inside or outside? And that in that case, it's just the area of a square, right? A is equal to S squared. So on 7, you would put the letter E. All right, so basically you would just say, oh, this is talking about the area of a square, and then you look at the formula for the area of a square. All right, good luck.